Hey everyone. So today we're talking about the day that changes Bitcoin forever, or as a matter of fact, changes the world forever. And you may be wondering, well, what day is that exactly? Well, it's the day that Bitcoin crosses a fair market value of $1 million per Bitcoin. And before I tell you what day Bitcoin's fair value price reaches this number, we first need to understand what the Bitcoin power law is and what its fair value assessment of Bitcoin is. And then we can determine what day exactly Bitcoin will be fairly valued at $1 million. So that's what we're doing today. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into today's content. And $1 million. $1 million. It may be an arbitrary number. You know, the number itself doesn't necessarily mean much because nothing is going to happen the day that Bitcoin's fair value price hits $1 million. It'll just keep humming along as it always does. But it psychologically will signal to the market the power, the resilience, and the unrelenting momentum that the most perfect money network in the world has. First off, let's talk about what the Bitcoin power law even is. Bitcoin isn't just some random asset bouncing around. No, its price growth follows a precise mathematical pattern called a power law. Now think of it like the laws governing earthquakes or city populations or even the size of stars. These things scale in predictable ways. Now for Bitcoin, when you plot its price over time on a logarithmic scale, that's log for the nerds out there, it forms an almost perfect straight line. This isn't a fluke. It's been holding true since Satoshi mined the Genesis block back in 2009. Now, why does this matter? Well, because power laws describe systems that get stronger and more resilient over time. It's the Lindy effect in full force. The longer Bitcoin survives, the more likely it is to keep thriving. Now, skeptics said Bitcoin was dead after every crash, but look at it now, still here, still growing, and following this trajectory like clockwork. Bitcoin is now $1 trillion asset, and no asset that has ever reached this valuation has disappeared in the history of finance, period. So check out this power law chart. You can see how Bitcoin's price has hugged this channel through every bull and bear market. It's not exponential. It's a polynomial in a controlled, predictable way. And the best part? Well, this model has been spot on for over 17 years. How spot on? 96% R-squared value. And for those unfamiliar with the world of statistics, the R-squared value, or the coefficient of determination, is a statistical measure that indicates the proportion of variance in a dependent variable that can be explained by one or more independent variables in a regression model. It ranges from 0 to 1, where 0 means the model does not explain any variance, and 1 means it perfectly explains the variance. Now, the Bitcoin power law model has a coefficient of determination of 0.96 if you round it to 2 decimal points. That is so close to perfect variance. You can literally, and I mean literally, just use this model to know when Bitcoin is cheap and when it is expensive and when it is fairly valued. No technical analysis, no macro analysis even, no astrology, no blood moons. All you need is this model. And you'll just do fine. Not financial advice, of course. Now, before we look at the numbers, I just wanted to take a quick second and let you guys know that we got channel memberships. So if you're interested in member exclusive content, hit the join button down below or scan the QR code on screen. And if you're like me and want to invest, trade, and receive dividends from stocks in Bitcoin instead of cash, check out my link for the Roxen platform down in the description below as well. The first platform in history where you can trade traditional markets using Bitcoin. Now back to the alpha. Now, experts like astrophysicist Giovanni Santastasi, who first spotlighted this back in 2012, have crunched the numbers and the projection is crystal clear. Bitcoin's fair value hits $1 million on December 27th, 2033. Now I want to make this clear. Bitcoin will probably hit $1 million itself before this date, before December 27th, 2033. Because this date is just the fair market value as determined by the Bitcoin power law. Remember, the Bitcoin power law has a lower and upper band associated with it, within which Bitcoin's price oscillates. It can be overpriced and it can be underpriced. So on this day, on December 27th, 2033, with a 96% chance, Bitcoin will be between $500,000 and $3 million, with the model price at $1 million exactly. So when will Bitcoin actually hit $1 million? Well, that number is up in the air. If we look at the Bitcoin power law and its channel, considering the upper and lower bounds, we can at least determine what the earliest date that Bitcoin can hit $1 million is. And the earliest date that Bitcoin can hit $1 million with a 96% chance is the day the upper band value crosses $1 million, which is July 7th, 2029. The day that Bitcoin's power law model price hits $333,418. Now, don't believe in math and statistics and reality? Well, let's stack the fundamental evidence then. Bitcoin's supply is capped at 21 million coins. That's scarcity. The Bitcoin network just mined its 20 millionth Bitcoin last week, meaning the last 1 million Bitcoins to ever be mined will be mined over the next 140 years. That's 5% of the supply over 140 years. Do you know how long it takes 5% of the gold supply to be added to the current existing above ground supply? 3 years. That's it. Bitcoin is less inflationary than gold, way less inflationary. Massive difference. Now, 21 million coins aren't circulating around at all times. Current estimates show that only about 3 to 4 million Bitcoin are actually in circulation, ready to be exchanged. That means in a conservative environment, about 80% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist is already owned, already accounted for, or lost by companies, by governments, by individuals, by ETFs. Now, every 4 years, the halving cuts new supply in half, making it harder and more expensive to mine. Now, we've already seen 4 halvings, and each one has ignited massive bull runs. And by 2033, we'll have had 2 more, squeezing supply even tighter while demand continues to explode. Add in institutional adoption, we're talking trillions pouring in from ETFs, pension funds, and even nation states like El Salvador or the US, treating Bitcoin as a safe haven asset. Corporations like Strategy are stacking sats like there's no tomorrow. They already own 738,000 Bitcoin as of this recording. And with global inflation, fiat currencies crumbling, add in geopolitical chaos to the mix, and Bitcoin is starting to look like the ultimate hedge. Now, by December 27th, 2033, we're not just talking about price, some arbitrary number that really in the grand scheme of things doesn't change anything about how Bitcoin functions. We're talking about psychological transformation, the biggest humble pie that a lot of older and frankly misinformed generations will have to come to terms with. This is the day Bitcoin cements itself as not only an asset everyone will have to take seriously, but as an asset considered to be the apex predator. Traditional finance will get disrupted forever. Banks, stocks, real estate, all pale in comparison to Bitcoin's returns. We're looking at a wealth transfer of epic proportions over the next decade or so, from the old guard to the new visionary generation of asset holders. The power law doesn't lie. It's physics applied to finance, and it's screaming bullish. So to recap quickly, July 7th, 2029, the earliest date which Bitcoin can hit $1 million. And December 27th, 2033, the earliest date that Bitcoin is fairly valued at $1 million. And this trajectory is provided from a power law model that since inception has explained 96% of Bitcoin's price. Since the Genesis block that was mined in 2009 by ya boy Satoshi. So remember these dates and these Bitcoin values the next time you see someone scream that Bitcoin is going to zero or that Bitcoin is going to $5 million next year. It helps keep timelines in reality and can help ground your expectations in a world of misinformation and clickbait. So tell me, what do you think about the Bitcoin power law? Are you a believer in the math and the statistics that governs it? Or are you still a skeptical Sally? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, if you stuck around this long, go ahead and catch another one of my videos right over here, or check out my channel over here, where you can take a look at all the other content I have to offer about investing in my personal investing journey. That's all for me today. I'm Patrick with Apex Wealth Collective. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.